Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Surapot Studio Thursday stream. And I noticed that a lot of things are not working, including my camera, including the microphone being too quiet. What is going on? Hey, Evax, can you hear me?
Yep.
Evax can hear me. Camera is not working. Is it working here? Okay, so, um, awkward. There's a quick second here to try to figure out what's going on. I don't know why the microphone is quiet. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the microphone is fixed. Microphone is fixed. Camera is being mean. Camera, hello. Hello. Oh, there we go. Camera decided to spare you my ugly mug for a second. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Surapot Studio Thursday stream. My name is Chatajona. I'm very happy to be here today. Momentarily joined by my buddy Evax, who is our lead QA. Hi, Evax.
Hey there, guys.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty tired too, right? Lots of hard work on Mirador is going on right now. Hello, Baranat. Hello, Mod the Blacklist. Rayovan. Hello, George Studios. Hello, Clowns Parade. Kiradox. In-Depth Gamer. Hi, how's it going? Ledoozy. Jackie Fam, I like that. Hello, Michael Haas. Hello, Boxing Fever. Hello, the Black, and Harley Queen Chan. Hello, it's very nice to see all these new names and all the familiar ones as well. For those of you who are new to the stream, we tend to stream every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, Propel Jesus. Today is going to be a pretty short stream because we are extremely, super, incredibly, oh my God, our heads are on fire and we have to do a lot of things. Busy with Mirador. Hi, Sir Hacker. Hi, L Clipper Del Finger. How's it going? Today is a Mirador update stream, so I have a couple of things to show you. Just some very small sneak peeks. And I want to give you guys an update on the Kickstarter and what's up with that since the Kickstarter was canceled. What happens now, because as you know, we are still releasing Mirador even though we canceled the Kickstarter. So you know, that's a good news, but there are more details to that. But before I start with that, oh yeah, happy 4th of July to everybody that's in the United States of America. I know it's the 4th of July today, yes, so hey, happy 4th to you guys. And Wishlist Mirador on Steam. If you guys are interested, we have a Steam store page now, so you can go to Steam and type in Mirador, search for Mirador, and you will find our Steam page. And if you wishlist it, not only does it give us a pretty good idea of how many people are interested in the game before we launch it, it also gives you a notification when the game is live. When the game actually launches on Steam, you'll get a little reminder that, hey, Mirador is available now if you want to check it out. And also, we have a newsletter page. If you'd like to subscribe to our newsletter, I will put a link in the chat. Everybody that's subscribed to our newsletter will get a little goodie, a little thank you gift. You'll get the flanged helmet and the aperture glyphs to use on your sentinels for free. You know, on your first sentinel. And yeah, so go on, sign up. We won't spam you. We'll just send you some cool Mirador stuff. And yes, hello Coffee Shop, hello Sir Hacker, salut Moudori, hello Nabinomic, thank you Nabinomic, that's a little awkward, but thank you, hello Foxy Gamer. Okay, so basically, let me make sure I told everyone on the Discord that we are streaming. I did tell everyone on the Discord that we are streaming. Okay, so basically, as you guys know, we had a Kickstarter going on for Mirador to try to fund part of the development, but unfortunately, there were a bunch of reasons that Kickstarter was just not working at that moment. We put a lot, and I mean a lot of effort into getting the Kickstarter campaign out there. We had advertising, we had, you know, by almost every day, every 2 days, we had updates on the Kickstarter page itself. We had daily updates on social media. We did a lot. We did like everything and a lot more than we could to get the Kickstarter going, but unfortunately it was super difficult to get eyes on the page. What was frustrating about the Kickstarter is that we had a really good conversion rate, which means that people who actually landed on the page, we had a high percentage of people landing on the page actually pledging, but it was really hard to get eyes on the page, to actually get people to see that the Mirador Kickstarter page exists. Even though we had press coverage, we were on PC Gamer, we were on jeuxvideo.com, we were on some pretty big news magazines, but it seemed like at the time, and still ongoing now, Kickstarter was struggling to get the impressions that it usually did. We asked around, and we were not the only ones who were having a hard time with their Kickstarter, which kind of made us feel it was kind of bittersweet in a sense that it confirmed that we weren't like doing something wrong, but at the same time it kind of sucks for just indie developers as a whole, not just for us. You know, we feel for our indie friends, and that it's like more and more of a struggle. There's lots of things happening with that is kind of turning people off of campaigns, Kickstarter campaigns, and crowdfunding campaigns. We've heard some pretty big names promising Steam keys and then not giving them out, and then being bought out to be exclusive on different stores. And I'll let you guys Google that. I don't want to get into that. So long story short, we decided to cancel the campaign because running it was costing us a lot of effort and a lot of money, and we had a feeling that it wasn't going to reach the objective. So we figured it was better to just cancel it and invest our efforts elsewhere. However, despite canceling the campaigns, like I told you earlier, we are still going to be releasing Mirador. So that's the good news. Now, the less fun news is that some of the things that we had originally planned for Mirador, unfortunately, we had to scope down. That means some of the mechanics in the game are going to be different or are not going to be in Mirador on launch. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So the new scope of Mirador, the core of Mirador, the reason that people hook onto the idea of Mirador is still there, and it's still the same. Mirador is going to be a top-down, roguelite, hack and slash, online co-op supported RPG where you will be killing bosses, getting loot, and you will also be creating the bosses, because all the bosses in the world are going to be created by players. Some of the bosses, especially early on, the Sentinels, are going to be created by us, Surpat Studio, because we want you guys to actually have Sentinels of all levels to fight against right from the first day. So of course, some Sentinels are going to be Surpat Studio created. But the idea of Mirador is that it is a boss fighting game where the bosses are created by other players, and it supports online co-op, and there is loot and all that good stuff. Now, some of the mechanics that we announced about Mirador, well, we didn't exactly announce them. Well, yeah, we announced them, but not with a big fanfare. Like, some stuff was like still not totally certain, but I told you on stream that they would be in the game, that we were planning on adding those. Unfortunately, they won't be in the game on launch. And the first thing is that the frames for the Sentinels, we were planning on having the Knight, the Enforcer, and the Hunter. For Mirador, we're only going to have the Knight. So on launch, there's going to be only one frame that you can use. But that doesn't reduce... That doesn't make it less likely to have a lot of variation in Mirador. Because while we're only going to have one frame, the Knight, we decided that the frame is going to have 6 different weapons. So far, I think we only showed you 3 of them, maybe 4. I think we showed you the axe recently. Well, there's going to be 6 different weapons that you can equip on your Sentinel, that you can find as loot and equip to your Sentinels. And there's going to be over 30 spells, different spells of different tier levels. So you're going to be able to find, you know, maybe the light ray spell, which is a laser beam. You're going to be able to find the light ray spell that is tier 2. Thank you so much for hosting us. So it's going to throw maybe 2 laser beams, and then the one that's going to throw 3 laser beams and move faster and stuff like that. So the idea of having different tiers of spells is still going to exist. Axe, longsword, gun, mace, saber, and there's another one. There's another one, probably. It's not the gun, it's the blaster that you guys saw. But there's going to be a 6th weapon too. Another mechanic that we've had to scope down from the game is player customization. So you're going to be able to change the skin on the character. So you're going to be able to either be the dog or the crow. But for launch, unfortunately, we won't have the time. We don't have the manpower right now to to get the secondary weapons and the support items in the game. So I told you that maybe you'd be able to change what weapon you use when you're fighting Sentinels. For now, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to put all of our focus on the actual boss fights and the creation of bosses. And when you fight Sentinels, is going to be the loadout that you've seen so far. So the sword and the shield, you're going to have a boomerang for ranged attacks, and you're going to have a healing potion, and you'll be able to dash for for fluid movement and dodging the Sentinels and whatnot. So that's how it's going to be on launch. Did I forget anything? I don't think I did. Okay, yeah, so like I said, we're going to have 6 different weapons for Sentinels. We're going to have over 30 spells, and the grid system still exists. Now, in the past, there was the mechanic where we said you would find loot, and when you find loot, you bring it back to your citadel, and only the loot that you bring back to your citadel will unlock blueprints permanently, and you can use a currency in order to buy instances of the blueprints as many times as you want, with like the composite currency and whatnot. For that, we put that aside for now. We want to boil it down to something simpler for the launch. So there won't be the whole like using composite to craft instances of things that you've unlocked the blueprint for, and there won't be the whole find five level 1 spells to merge them into a level 2 spells, so on and so forth. For now, what we're gonna do is that all the loot that you can find and use on your Sentinels, including cosmetics, you're gonna find by playing. So the harder bosses that you fight, the more likely it is that you'll find higher tiers of spells and higher tiers of grids. So you won't need to craft things. You won't need currency in order to craft more spells to use on your Sentinels. You'll just find everything just by playing. Will the graphics be the same as Calcer or completely different? Go check out the YouTube channel, Thomas. We have some gameplay videos. I'm about to boot up the game in a moment, and you'll have a better idea as well. So yeah, so when it comes to the loot, all the loot you're going to be able to find in the game. Everything that exists in the game, you will be able to find in the game. So that's actually not, it changes, but it's not necessarily a downgrade. It's just we boil it down to something simpler that'll be simpler for us to implement for launch, and simpler for you to understand and play as well. Other classes will eventually come later after release. We'd like that complication. We have a lot of ideas that we would love to add post-release. Whether or not we can add these things post-launch is going to entirely depend on you. We have always, since the very start of Surpass Studio, since Castle Story, we've been a studio that is very, 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 very focused on community input. So Castle Story was a Kickstarter, super successful Kickstarter story, and we always focused on what you guys told us. So if people were telling us, if we got lots of feedback that something was bothering them, we would put a lot of focus on that. If we got a lot of feedback that a feature would be nice to add in the game, and that suggestion came over and over and over again, and we understood that our players really wanted this one specific feature, we focus on that. And we want to do the same thing with Mirador. Of course, it's not always possible to add everything that everyone is suggesting to us. Sometimes even the most popular suggestion is for X reason not possible to add. But still, for Mirador, once we launch the game, depending on the reception of the game, we still have a ton of ideas that we want to add to the game. And what we decide to add to the game after we launch, that's going to depend on what you guys tell us you want. So be sure that after buying the game and playing it out, be sure to let us know what you want. Be sure to let us know what is bothering you about the game, what you think is missing, what you think is something that you'd really like. Because that's how we tend to orient our focus and our development cycles. I will talk about the beta in a second, Tyler. So that's it. So basically, we're gonna have 1 frame instead of 3 frames for launch, and player customization is gonna be purely cosmetic for launch. So either the dog or the bird. But when it comes to loadout, like the weapons and whatnot, it's gonna be the sword, the shield, dashing, healing, and the boomerang. You won't be able to switch that around. And when it comes to Sentinels, there's going to be 6 weapons. There's going to be the grids with the different tiers, the stronger and the weaker grids, and the spells with the different tiers as well. And all of that, you'll be able to... And cosmetics, sorry. There's going to be a ton of cosmetics. There's already a lot of cosmetics. There's going to be a ton of cosmetics. And it's all going to be findable in-game. Oh, there is something I forgot to talk about. Okay. Yes, and like I said, the spells, the more difficult bosses you defeat, the better spells you're gonna find. And when you die, if you die in a run and you decide not, like, you decide to push your luck further, because the way the loop works right now, the game loop, is that you're gonna play against 3 sentinels. When you defeat them, you reach a sanctuary. At that sanctuary, some of your items, like your healing potion, might recharge. Your dead allies might come back to life, and I will show you that in a moment. And at that point, at that sanctuary, you get to decide, do I want to go back to the Citadel and keep the loot that I found so I can use it to build another Sentinel? Or do I want to gamble it and go on to 3 more difficult Sentinels and find better loot? However, if you die, you're going to lose some of the loot you found so far. So it's kind of like a gamble. At the Sentinel, you decide, okay, do I want to push on, push further, or just not take the risk? This has been hard enough for me. Go back to the Citadel and make a Sentinel and keep the loot that I found. Will cosmetics also have different rarities? Yes, cosmetics will have different rarities. You'll be able to find better and less better, impressive and less impressive cosmetics. Okay, so you guys have like a billion questions. Evax, I know you're super busy right now with testing bugs and stuff. Do you want me to just message you on Slack when we're ready to do this instead of just holding you here? Or is it fine? It's up to you.
It's okay. I'm playing another rail right now.
Okay, so you're working at the same time. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me catch up on some. Oh yes, something really important also, and some of you might not mind, or some of you might be really happy about that. But for Mirador on launch, there will not be any microtransactions, and there will not be bundles that we sell for extra money on Steam or anything. Originally, we told you that we're planning on having bundles that we launch with the game. So if you want to, you'll be able to buy like microtransactions that will give you that will unlock blueprint cosmetics and stuff like that. We decided not to do that because we're scoping things down, and we don't want you to feel like you don't have access to everything at the start. That's not to say later on we wouldn't like to sell things in order to be able to continue supporting the development of Mirador in the future, because like it or not, at the end of the day, we need to make some money in order to make updates, in order to continue developing the game, because Mirador is really a game that we think has a lot of potential to constantly be adding content to. There's constantly new frames we could add, new weapons we could add, new metas we could add. We have lots and lots of ideas. But right now for launch, since, like I said, the Kickstarter campaign, we had to cancel that, so our funding is limited. We want to focus all of our effort on getting a really nice, juicy, fun, core gameplay, core experience to the game. We want you to, have enough number of hours of fun with Mirador for the price that you're going to pay. So we don't want to focus on microtransactions for now. So on launch for Mirador, you're gonna pay one price, and that's all you're gonna be able to spend on you. That's not true. We're gonna sell the OST as well. I believe we're working on the OC, like the music you can hear in the background. If somebody wants that, they can. Let me see. Did I forget anything else? Yeah, like I said, so no bundles on launch, no DLCs on launch, but there's a good chance that some are gonna come eventually later on. We're gonna find a nice, tasteful way to allow people who do want to support the game to support us, but keep in mind we're gamers too. We don't want it to feel like you have to pay and you have to spend money to enjoy Mirador. That is not something we want. That is not something we've ever wanted, and that's not something we're gonna want either. So if we do eventually add DLCs or bundles that you can buy on the Steam store, we're gonna try our best to make it tasteful and to make it tasteful and make it not feel like we're pressuring you into buying these things if you don't want to. Is there a story, a campaign, or a world? There's a world, yes, but there won't be a story. No, Mirador, since the very start, Mirador is not a story-driven game. There's going to be a bit of some hints to a background lore, kind of like Castle Story, but that's not how it's going to be. Let me catch up on some of the questions. What percentage can be modified from the boss? Attacks and appearance. Yes, you can modify the behavior of the boss, so the grids will decide when the boss uses their weapon, when they cast a spell, which spells they cast, and you're going to be able to slot different spells. I'm going to show you guys. I will show you today. Will there be a versus game mode as well? No, there won't be PvP. There's a synchronous PvP in the sense that you make your boss and other players are fighting against your boss, and vice versa, you're fighting against their boss. Is there a possibility to change the environment for your Sentinel? Not on launch, but that is a suggestion that comes back often and something that we'd like too. I think it'd be pretty cool if you could customize your arena, or maybe decide in which arena your Sentinel is going to be. That's, like I said, those are the kind of suggestions that we're going to be considering after we launch, once again depending on the reception of the game. So hey, if you like Mirador and you want Mirador to if you want us to continue working on Mirador after it launches, adding updates and stuff like that, you know, consider telling your friends about the game and you know, help us, support us. Let us know what you want in the game, and let us know that you like the game. Can you tell us the types of rarity? I will show you some of the different rarity spells. Yes. About that, how are you planning on defining the scale of Sentinels since you are not the ones who made them? We have a system that's gonna rank Sentinels depending on how many victories they had, depending on what spells they have, so on and so forth. So we have a system going on. If we supported the Kickstarter but pledge didn't go through, nobody's pledge went through because we canceled the Kickstarter. We didn't take anybody's money. Is there a way to still support the studio for Mirador? Yes, you could. Well, first of all, make sure you wishlist the game. Tell all your friends about the game so they wishlist it too. And if you want to support us right now financially, the only ways to do that is to buy our other game, Castle Story, which is a really fun RTS, creative voxel RTS, and it's on sale for 60% off right now. It's pretty cheap. You can also buy the OST for Castle Story. The music for Castle Story is really, really nice. I don't want to feel like I'm missing something if there's microtransactions. The way we originally had planned microtransactions was not actually microtransactions. It was more like bundles of items that you could buy, but only to unlock them faster. Everything that you could buy, you could unlock in the game without ever paying for them. And that's something that we hold on to. Even though there won't be bundles and there won't be microtransactions on launch for Mirador, if there are eventually, it'll still be tasteful. Will people who signed up on the playtest have priority when getting in? Okay, so here's the deal with the playtest. For those of you who don't know, today, maybe tomorrow is your last chance to sign up to the to the Mirador playtest. And in order to sign up to the Mirador playtest, you need to go to miradorgame.com/playtest. I'm gonna put a link in the chat. So go to this nice little page. And then first of all, you need to join the official Mirador Discord by clicking on the first button here, and that will join the Mirador Discord. And then click here on the second button to fill in this form. It's not that long. It'll take you maybe 5 minutes. Fill that in. It's mostly yes, no questions. Make sure you read all the questions carefully though, because if you answer wrong, you'll be disqualified from the playtest. And then we'll send you an email if you're selected very soon. Very, very soon, we'll be sending out emails concerning the playtest. The playtest will not be the entirety of the game. Or maybe it'll be pretty close, or maybe it'll be some things that are cut out. It depends on what the development team needs to test. But yeah, it's under NDA, so we don't want you to take screenshots or share videos with your friends or whatnot. We just need some help testing the stability of the game. Since there's online, there's multiplayer, we want to make sure that your controllers work, that your keyboards, mice work, so on and so forth. Get an idea of the PC requirements, and yeah. I believe it's going to be more like dungeony, where you fight against other people's dungeons. You're fighting against other people's sentinels, yes, but you don't get to choose which arena you put your sentinel in. That'll be randomized. How many players will be able to play? I have around 6 friends, all planning on buying it. It'll be 2-player co-op on launch, but there's a pretty solid chance that we'll add more afterwards. Will there be a way to replace your sentinel with 2 or 3 smaller and weaker ones? You'll be able to replace your sentinel whenever you want. Well, first of all, you'll be able to have more than one sentinel, and if you want to, you'll be able to dismantle a sentinel to replace it with another one. Yes. Thank you, Thomas. Do you think a workshop would be a good idea for like custom character and skins? Since it's online co-op, since Mirador is going to be an online game with items that are saved online in our database and not, there won't be workshop support, at least on launch. Will the game support PS4 and Xbox One controllers? Xbox One, yes. PlayStation 4 works. We've tested it with PlayStation 4, it works, but maybe the icons in the game won't change for the PlayStation controller. Officially, it'll be keyboard and mouse and Xbox. But PlayStation is still likely to work. Hello, Attack Soon. Did you figure out how ladders work? So maybe we could see ladders in Mirador. You won't need ladders in Mirador. Vertical pathfinding for Cal Story is something that we've really wanted. I need tissues. It's something that we really wanted. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was a lot more complicated than you think it was. Than you might think. Okay. I'm really happy to see that all of you guys are excited about Mirador. I didn't get any like super angry, hateful comments about the fact that we're downscoping the game a little bit for launch. All good. all good. You still love us. Unfortunately, we had to do it. It's not that we wanted to. We want to add everything to Mirador. We want Mirador to be the best game in the world and have all the features in the world, all of them. But unfortunately, we're human beings. Unfortunately, we're human beings, and we haven't been able to train robots to make video games. So we still need to sleep and eat and pay our bills. And unfortunately, the Kickstarter campaign being canceled meant that our budget for Mirador was lower, and we're gonna have to ship a smaller product. But it's still gonna be awesome. It's still gonna be a ton of fun, and we're still gonna be there to listen to your suggestions, listen to your comments, and your bug reports and all that. I'm angry because I can't wait to play it. Good, that's good. Make sure you add Mirador to your wish list. That's really, really important. Do you guys have any questions before we hop right into the game? Gotta see some gameplay before making comments like that. People who do that without having played the game are delusional. Thank you, Sir Hacker. That's very reasonable of you. Rope Walker says, George Studio, I'm also excited to see the next episode of your Castle story. Oh, he means the Chronicles of Castle. We're really excited, George Studio. I saw everybody in the studio watching that. If you guys play Castle Story, go on YouTube and type Castle Story Chronicles, because George Studio made like a really, really nice video. Castle Story Chronicles. He used the secret movie editor, and it's like Swordpot Studio quality, almost. But it's very close. It's really good. Like, he hid the UI and everything looks good. It gave me a good chuckle. It's really nice. Go check it out. Like, the details on the little faces here that actually match the face of the Bricktron. It's pretty awesome. Definitely check it out. Lots of effort put into those videos. Don't overwork yourselves. By the way, please, we need all of you to stay alive so you can make updates. We're gonna try, but indie studio life is like that. Will there be some kind of voices to put on our Sentinels? No, Sentinels will not talk. Maybe eventually we could add emotes or stuff like that. They will taunt. They will taunt when the fight starts, and depending on the weapon you give, every Sentinel, every weapon is gonna have a different taunting and starting animation, intro animation, which is pretty awesome. Will Steam definitely be the only platform you'll be releasing on launch? Yes. We will be launching on Steam. Now, eventually, later on, if somebody is listening right now, I don't know, Humble Bundle, Epic Games, Origin, anybody, and wants to talk to us, we are very open to discussions. But we want to launch on Steam. We will be launching on Steam, and it will not be an exclusive. Well, it's going to be a Steam exclusive just because we don't have right now, we can't right now invest what it takes in order to ship it onto other platforms. But eventually, after we launch the game, depending on the reception, we do want to bring Mirador on consoles, on Switch, on other stores, stuff like that. Yes, that's something we really want to do. But for launch, it'll be on Steam. No worries about that. Okay. Are we ready? Any other questions? If not, I'm going to close this. I am going to, definitely close the folder containing, did I show anything bad? No, containing the trailer of Mirador. No, okay, I can close that. You didn't see anything. Actually, let me just put my ugly mug on here. And hey, Evex, are you still around?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're just going to hop into the game, me and Evax.
Let me a sec.
Take your time. Well, no, don't take too much time. Take your time, but not too much time. And we're gonna play some Mirador. This is not the most recent build. There are things missing in here, but it's okay. It's the build that I'm gonna show you today on stream. It has lots of placeholder content. I don't have my disclaimer. Oh no, I don't have my disclaimer. Hold up. I'm supposed to have my disclaimer, but I don't. I'm a bad person. Boom. Okay, so I'm gonna put that here, nice and obvious. And It's a development build. Everything you see is subject to change, all that good stuff. You guys know that business. I don't need to go over all that again. So actually, we have the new player skins in here. So this is the new dog. Looks pretty cute, if you ask me. I like the new dog a lot. And are you guys ready for this? I need everybody to sit down right now. Everybody sit down. Are you all sitting down? You need to be sitting down right now. Are you sitting down? Because I'm about to do something that's going to blow your mind.
I am.
Everybody in chat, tell me, confirm to me that you're sitting down. Because this is going to blow your mind. Yes? Okay, you're sitting, Jordan. Are you ready for this? Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. So the dog barks. I had to show you. I couldn't. It was the very first thing I wanted to show you. It was the very first thing I wanted to show you. Bork, bork. That's not all, though. That's not... Evax, you better not do it before I tell you to do it. Don't spoil my punch, okay? So for those of you who don't know, this is the Citadel. It's a work in progress. It's not finished. This is the home base of the Rangers. This is you guys, the adventurers of Mirador. You're in the Citadel, and this is your safe space. It's the place where you won't be attacked by anyone. This is the place where you'll go... in order to eventually make your sentinel, build your sentinels, and then start your adventures from. So, for example, I'm going to go down there. Actually, like I said, you'll be able to change your skins. Let me do that real quick. Hold up. Let me use some debug tools. Oh, I already have a ton of stuff. Let me just do that. Bark! So, I'm going to go ahead and be the crow. Evax, you can be the dog.
Sounds good.
Okay, everybody that just stood up, you need to sit back down. Did I do the bark sound? Yes. Everybody sit back down. Sit back down. Hold on to your undies, and get ready. So this is the new skin for the crow, which also looks really, really cute. They're so cute. Sorry for the placeholder. You know, the stuff in the background is not complete yet. But this is the crow, and the crow is also one of the skins you'll be able to use. Very cute. Are you ready? Are you ready? Everyone's sitting down? Are you ready for this?
I am.
Evax, you spoke over it. So the crow makes... I don't know, what noises does a crow make? What does he bark? No. He caws. So, is it recommended to use a controller? Yes, it will be very recommended to use a controller, but you are able to use keyboard and mouse too. See, I'm using my keyboard right now, ASDW and stuff like that. I will be using a controller for the stream though. So, yeah, Crow and the dog, new stuff, new skins, and if you're a Fiddlesticks fan on League of Legends, you'll be able to just do that all day long. And I just opened a menu that is not actually supposed to be there. It's okay. And yeah, so from the Citadel is where you'll be launching your adventures, and you'll be teaming up with your friends. Now the Citadel is a single player location, so you can play the Citadel even without an internet connection. You can walk around. You can't publish a sentinel though without being online, because you need to send your sentinel to the server. So we don't take too much of Evax's time. We're actually I'm gonna use a debug menu here in order to team up with Evax. Who am I gonna invite? Oh, should I invite Matthew? Nah. Creeperbot? Nah. We'll invite Evax, Meteor, QA. There he is. Alright, so in my debug menu here, I can see that Evax is in my party. We're gonna go ahead and start a fight. So I'm gonna open the portal by cawing at it. Caw! That means open portal! And crow. And Evax, are you the pupper? Are you the dog? Yes, Evax is a dog. Now, don't worry about that flashing circle of light. Hey! Don't bark at me! No. So, yeah. So, this is today's stream. We're just going to stand here by the campfire. And for the next... How much time is there left? 1 hour, 36 minutes. We're just going to do this for the next hour and 36 minutes, okay? Enjoy, everybody. Okay. Don't worry about that green circle. That green circle is placeholder. We'll show you what it does momentarily. I would watch. I'd be fine with that. Crow and Dog podcast. Okay, so we have some water ripples now. They're a little buggy. They need some fixing, but hey, the water looks different. Okay, let's go on an adventure. Ooh, flooded plains. So flooded plains is one of the biomes you'll be able to adventure in. You want to go in the portal, Evax? Flooded plains is one of the... I love that portal effect. Hey, come back here. Flooded plains is one of the... Evax is actually in flooded plains right now, and on the other side of that portal. And if I walk in there, I'll be with him. All right, let's just go. Fine, I'm coming. We don't have the water ripples in yet, but we will. It's one of the biomes you'll be able to fight in. So we're gonna go around, find the arena. Oh, the water's getting deeper here. Ah, there it is. There's a bridge here. And is there a boss over there? A sentinel? Is there? Yes, there is. Who is it? What sentinel is that? We have to both get in. The corrupt brute. Let's see what he's gonna do. I think that's a sentinel I made. Oh yeah, I made that sentinel moments ago. As you can see, they look different. And that sentinel, did you see that intro it played? That's new. It has a blaster. Uh-oh. There's a new boomerang, the new boomerang indicator. It's okay if we kill it, Evax. You don't have to show them the thing yet. We can do it the next one. Uh-oh. What are you gonna do? Ooh! So that is one of the tier 3 abilities. So if that was a tier 1, it would only be 1 circle. But since that's one of the rarer spells, it has 3 rings of fire to it. What's the name of that spell, Evax?
Searing Wall.
Searing Wall. There's the regular sword attack, the quick one, and if you want to do more damage at the cost of it taking more time to actually attack, you can hold the attack and it'll do a stronger strike. Uh-oh, here comes Searing Wall again. Ooh, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. Oh no, no, I'm setting in the fire. I'm gonna heal up real quick. Yikes, okay, that is kind of a hard sentinel. I can't really go up there because I'll take fire damage. I don't want to take fire damage. I think we can stay close to the sentinel. Oh, he attacked too, and that way the fire damage won't actually hit us. There's a bit of a bug with the sound, with the audio of the Searing Wall. Sorry about that. We got it. We got it. I think this is a sentinel that doesn't change its spells. I think whoever made the sentinel put the same, the same 3 spells on it. I'm really not good with the boomerang. Uh-oh. Okay. Hey, don't use up all of your potions. We need them for the other bosses.
I needed to take it.
Uh-oh. I'm getting better at this. What's the name of that spell? The spear one?
Force Lance.
Force Lance. Where the sentinel will throw a really big... He's just spamming it now. Whoever made this sentinel must have put Force Lance a lot. Oh, almost dead, almost dead. So am I, though. We got it! Ooh, okay. Good job. Whew. We did it! Captain Roll says, Tabarnak c'est beau. Thank you, Captain Roll. The portal effect is so sick. Thank you. So as you can see, the bridge opened up. Sorry for the background noise. Hold on. Let me try to... You think I can fix it with a debug by stop-start music? Will that work?
No.
No? Okay. Will it fix when we enter the portal?
No.
No!
Sorry.
It's okay. Go on in. Oh, that's Flooded Plains again. This is another version of Flooded Plains. So there's different arenas in the same biome. Hold on a second, Evax. Maybe let's go back to the Citadel and just start another fight because the sound is too loud. Let me know when I can start it. Are you already in the party? Okay,
Yep. I'm good.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that bug. We need to fix that bug fast though for the streams. What kind of playstyles are there? Both of you seem to be using swords. Can there be a ranger? No. Unfortunately for launch, it's going to be, like I said, that's one of the things we had to downscope. It's going to be the sword and the shield, and the boomerang for ranged attacks. You can dash, you can use your healing potion, but that's how it's going to be for launch. Eventually, like I said, if you guys tell us that the next thing you really want us to add is a bow, then we'll most likely consider adding that as the next update. Do we need to restart it?
No.
Are you sure? I'm stuck in loading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let me restart it. Shutdown question. Do the Sentinels have health-based abilities? As in, do they only use... Yes. Yes, I will show you, Jord. I will show you. That wasn't a bug. It was waves of water hitting the land. It's definitely an audio bug. I'd say we need yo-yos. Yo-yos would be cool. The boomerang kind of works like a yo-yo, except it lands on the floor and you have to pick it up. Oh, something that's really cool about the boomerang is that you can pick it up in midair. Which I think is pretty sweet. Let me show you. Character actions. Which one is it to unholster my weapons, Evax? Player intro short? Evax?
Sorry, what?
Which character action, the debug developer tool, is it to pull my weapons out?
Player intro short.
Right, okay. And then it's... So the boomerang, you can actually pick it up in midair, which is cool. But if you don't pick it up, it lands on the floor, and I can't boomerang anymore unless I pick it back up. Now I can boomerang. And yeah, you can do some sick... Oh! Attack, and then pick it up, shoot, attack, pick it up. It's pretty cool. Okay, let me put it away. Let me put my weapons away. And let me invite Evax as well. Hey, thank you so much for following. If you guys aren't following us on Twitch or subscribed on YouTube, please do that. And please add Mirador to your Steam wishlist. It gives us an idea of who's interested in the game before we even launch the game. Thank you so much. I mean, how many games do you know where you can play a dog and a crow and you can bork and cacaw, okay? I think that alone is worth your... Where's... No! Evax! Oh, I forgot to be the crow. Sorry, hold on. Let me just go change my skin. I thought you were going to be the crow for some reason. I forgot that I'm the crow. I'm the crow in today's stream. Bork! Alright, there you go. Ah! Oof, what did I do? Oh, I opened the boss editor by accident. My bad. Don't look. No look-sies. Matchmaking. I am still with Evax. Gah! Gah! How much? Oh, I keep opening menus by cawing by accident. My bad. Okay. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing. There's a bunch of questions. Will the loot you get from the bosses be visible on your character model? So the loot you get is going to be loot you can use to create sentinels, not to customize your own character. I'm stuck in loading again. It's a development build. Sorry for the bugs. Okay, what did I do wrong?
Maybe you did start the boss editor with me, so it's not...
okay. I did start the boss editor by accident. Can you pick up the boomerang of your partner? Good question. Can you, Evax? I don't think you can.
Nope.
No, it's your boomerang. If there's an option to curve the boomerang, that would be real. That would be pretty sick. It would definitely increase the skill ceiling. I agree. What are the colored dots above your abilities? I will show you. I will explain in a second. That's a very good question, but those are charges, and depending on which one you're talking about, they have different behaviors. The game looks amazing. Thank you, Despicable Lemons. My 2 cents would be that when it becomes possible to add a bow playstyle as well as a mage playstyle, that would be very cool. It is something that we would like to add eventually into the game. And if that's what you guys would like us to focus on after we launch the game, then let us know. You know, when you buy the game, try it out, play it, tell us what you like and tell us what you don't like, and then tell us what's missing according to you. And, you know, if like... almost everybody tells us, hey, we really want a bow, then we'll look into that. If everyone tells us, hey, we really want another sentinel frame, another sentinel type, we'll look into that. It's all going to depend on the reception of the game and the feedback that we get from you guys. We have always been super oriented towards what our community is telling us. Okay, let's leave the Citadel into the Sanctuary. Are Castle Story streams still a thing? Yeah, we've had one like the last 3 Thursdays were Castle Story streams. Actually, today is actually an exception. Usually it's a Castle Story stream. Bork! 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 I have too much fun doing that. Okay, see you, Ravon. Okay, let's hop back into... Let's hope it's Windblown Steppes. Oh, it's Flooded Plains again. That's okay. If it's the same Sentinel Evax, I'm going to cheat and insta-kill it so we don't get the sound bug. Hello.
Sounds good.
Okay. Kill boss. We have like developer cheats, and Al could be used as the mage class. Oh, that would be pretty neat. We actually want the skins to be free from classes, so anybody can play any. Oh, it's a different signal. Anybody can play any animal they want, and then customize their loadout depending on what they want. That's kind of what we wanted to do. So the skins are gonna be. It doesn't matter what weapons you use. Oh, this is a new spell. What's the name of this spell, Evax?
Anesthesis, I think.
I can't pronounce it, but yes. Basically, walking into that circle was slow me down and sap my dash, or stop me from recharging my dash's charges. Ooh. Also, this sentinel is using the battle axe, the great axe, which has an overhead slam attack like that. That does, there you go. That does damage in a line in front of it. Okay, as long as I stay out of that circle, I should be okay. And see, when you're in that circle, you're slowed down. And if I'm not mistaken, your dash doesn't recharge when you're in the circle. Am I right? Evax?
What did you say?
When you're in the anesthesis circle, does your dash? Yeah, it recharges slower, doesn't it? No, maybe not actually.
It doesn't recharge at all.
It doesn't? I think it does, or it's a bug maybe.
No, it doesn't. If you stay inside.
Okay. Oh no, he did de-spell.
No, the fire.
That's okay, it's not too loud. Oh, this is a tier 2, the tier 2 light ray spell right there. Did you see that? It had two spell beams, 2 laser beams, and I think we got the audio bug again because of that spell. Evax, I'm dying a lot to this sentinel.
Me too.
I'm actually really not good against this guy. Hey, we both threw the boomerang at the same time. Okay. Is that my boomerang or your boomerang? So somebody asked me what are the colored dots above the abilities. So the dash one is how many times I can dash. See, 1, 2, 3. Now I have to wait for them to recharge, and they recharge one at a time. The one above the boomerang is whether or not the boomerang is in my inventory. So if it's on the ground, I have to pick it up, and then it charges up. The health potion is how many charges of the health potion I have, so I can still use it only once because I've used it twice already. It's almost dead! Almost dead! Yes! Yes! Okay. And the shield, I'll try to explain the shield in a moment. Okay, so we killed that sentinel, but we're gonna go back to the Citadel and start over again because of the audio bug. Is it gonna be flooded plains for the first biome every time, or is it random right now?
It's random, but it's almost always.
Yeah, there's a better chance of it being flooded plains. Okay, we could cheat it as well. Let's just cheat it in the debug menu. Hi, Dante. Oh man, a lot of things. You're gonna have to watch the playback. How many tiers are there? There's gonna be 3 tiers for most things. For spells and grids, actually. Let me do match. We're still in the party. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna give it a try. Arena mode. I'm gonna go for Windblown Steps medium. We're gonna see if this works. I'm using debug tools, so they might not quite work. There you go. Is it gonna work? I don't think it worked. I think I broke it, Evax. Did I broke it?
Yep.
Yep, I broke it. Sorry. Like I said, it is a development build. Sometimes we're gonna have to relaunch the game and whatnot. Today. Let me catch up on YouTube a little bit. I've been ignoring you YouTube people. Hello, Shydrox. Hello, Noxel. So cool. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. That graphic update. I'm glad you like it, Probable Jesus. It does look a lot better, doesn't it? Will the loot you get from the bosses be visible? Oh, I already answered that. Where can you see these portal effects? What do you mean, Tomas? The style of the game reminds me of Human Falls Flat. Does it? Are bosses damage and health scale differently between solo and co-op? Yes. The sentinels will be adjusted for co-op play. Hey, you be the crow this time, Evax. I want to Bork this time.
Okay.
I wanna be the Borky boy. Jonathan Dubé, c'est du beau travail tout ça. Lâchez pas gang. Merci. Merci beaucoup. I'm gonna invite Evax in my debug dev tools. Do you think the game mode settings arena mode will work, Evax?
Sorry, I was reading something else.
Do you think arena mode works?
Supposed to.
Yeah. Okay, let's try it. I'm picking Arena Windblown Steps medium. Is that the one I should be picking?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
I
it
think
works this
you're
time.
ready.
I
You
think it
should
worked.
take A or
A or oh no, it didn't work. I think I chose the wrong one. Oh, I see. I was picking the wrong. Okay, okay. We have to start over again. My bad. That was my bad. That was my bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. Hey, 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 hey! I told you it was a development build. There would be bugs. I told you. I wrote that long ago when you were saying, where can you hear dogs barking and crows crowing? So where else can you see those portal effects? When you enter portals. When you defeat a sentinel and you're gonna move on to the next arena to defeat the next sentinel, you enter into the portal. Is it possible to explain the loot system? Do you power your weapons or shields up? No. No. So the loot that you're gonna find on launch is gonna be spells, grids, weapons that you're gonna be able to use to create your own sentinel and send it out there. And your sentinel is going to fight against other players. So when you're playing, you're fighting against a sentinel that another player created with a loot that they found. Evax, I'm going to invite you to matchmaking again, to my party. There
yeah,
you
maybe
go.
it's not gonna work. I don't know.
I think I'm picking the wrong one. I'm going to go for Windblown Steps A. Because earlier I was picking the ones from the bottom of the debug menu. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. No, it's working.
Oh, I think it... no, I got stuck in loading. I assume the purple circle spell currently is a tier 1. Tier 1, I think, spawns it around the sentinel. Tier 2 spawns one that starts moving around. And tier 3 spawns several ones, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think I'm stuck in loading.
No, you can't join.
You think we can't cheat it right now in this build? Okay,
Exactly.
we could just cheat the bosses until we reach Windblown Steps to show Windblown Steps.
Exactly.
Is it possible if you could explain the loot system? Okay, so basically, when you kill Sentinel, when you leave your Citadel to start your adventure, you're gonna fight 3 Sentinels in a row. So you defeat the first Sentinel, you defeat the second Sentinel, and then you defeat the third Sentinel, and then you reach a Sanctuary. At that Sanctuary, you'll get a list of all the loot that you found so far. And the loot that you find is Sentinel-related loot. So you're going to find cosmetics for your Sentinels. You're going to find weapons for your Sentinel. You're going to find spells. You're going to find grids for your Sentinels. And then you get to decide, do you want to continue onto the next set of 3 Sentinels that are going to be harder and might kill you? Or do you want to play it safe and keep the loot that you found, come back to your Citadel and you know, actually cash in your loot? Because if you decide to go on to the next tier of difficulty, you might die, and if you die, you lose some of your loot. You won't get stuck in loading. No, I'm getting stuck in loading screens because I'm breaking the game, basically. I'm using the debug tools to do stuff that I'm not supposed to do. So right now I'm gonna give myself the boss insta-kill. Let's go kill that Sentinel Evax. You can see at the bottom left my my dash is charging up. Oh yeah, and the shield is basically different ability. Different spells from the Sentinels will do different amount of damage to your shield. And when your shield breaks entirely, oh, this guy's got a mace. I'm just gonna insta-kill him, Evax. You dead! So you can block, and if you block for more than 5 charges on your shield breaks and you can't block. Your shield breaks, you get stunned, and you can't block for a while. Yay! Windblown Steps! Okay, you go in, Evax. I want to show off that sexy portal effect again. Evax is in the Windblown Steps right now. Is it nice over there, Evax?
It is.
Is it warm?
Pretty nice. Yeah, it looks.
Because it's pretty wet here in the flooded plains. Hey, get a little closer to the portal. A little bit to the left. Ah, there you go. There's Evax in the portal. I love that portal effect. All right, I'm coming. Okay, so this is the Windblown Steps, another of the biomes that you're going to be able to adventure in. We're going to go find the... Oh, there it is, the arena. Now, the gates are not supposed to be flashing like that. That's a bug. And who is this guy? Is that the fire guy? Oh, no.
Pretty much have all fire spell.
Okay, so this is one of the new weapons that I haven't shown you yet. It's the saber. Check this out. Oh, okay, wait. He's not using the saber right now. Doing the light ray. Oh, there we go. The double slash like that. Oh, no, fire, no, die. Okay, I killed him. Oh, I still played the fire. No. It's alright, it's not too bad. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the next one. Now let's show them the death mechanic, Evax.
Sure thing.
I'm afraid of going back to the Citadel because I think there's the bug.
Yeah.
We'll be stuck we'll be stuck in loading. Alright, let's go. Sorry about that audio bug. We'll fix it, promise. Maybe if we bark at the Sentinel, it'll be scared. And it won't attack us. Oh, that Sentinel is kind of weird looking. Alright, so don't die too quickly, okay? Because I need your help actually defeating this guy.
Okay.
Oh, I think this is my Sentinel that I made as a test. Here, I'm gonna try to block. Is he gonna use the Force Lance on me? Okay, check this out. When he hits me, when the Sentinel hits me with its abilities, see, I just lost one of my charges on my shield, but they recharge, they come back, as long as you're not holding your shield down. Now, this one only took away one charge on my shield. Let's try to get him to attack me. There we go. Now the Force Sense took all of them down, so now my shield is broken. I can't shield anymore until all of them recharges, and I got stunned for a while. Okay, so now this is actually trouble. I might actually die. Okay, let's Evax, don't die until he has like only one bar of health left, because I don't think I can actually beat this guy without your help.
Just doing Force Lance.
Kind of pinning him in the back. Let's move a little bit so he's not all the way back there. I think he's gonna stay there. He's not a big mover, this one. Oh, wait,
maybe
stuck?
one of the
yeah, I think he got stuck. Maybe. Yeah, he got stuck. Unfortunately, it's okay.
No, he's not stuck.
Oh, he's not. Oh, okay. He was doing that on purpose. Sneaky. Oh. So the shield, even though my shield broke, it still protected me from losing any health. So I didn't take any damage. My shield broke, I got stunned for a second, but now my shield is back, and I didn't lose any health, so that's pretty nice. We're doing pretty good.
He's not a good boss.
It's not. I made that boss really quickly. This is not a very good stream boss.
You should put other spells.
I should, but I was trying to build a boss really quickly just to see if it worked for a video. Oh yeah, I can't use my boomerang right now because it's on the ground, so I gotta pick that up. Come on, come on! Oh! Yeah, that Sentinel was only using Force Lance and its primary weapon for the most part. But he has a lot of health, the bugger. He's still kind of kicking our ass, you know, even though he's not a very good Sentinel. He's still,
yeah.
We're still kind of, I've used up one healing potion so far, and I'm at half health.
Okay, I need to die.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so Evax is gonna die now, just to show you what happens when he dies. Oh no! Oh, I thought you died. That was just your shield. Whoa, 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 not me! Kill him, not me! So when your friend dies, they will turn into a pumpkin! No, I'm kidding. They will turn into... Kill him! God dang it!
Yeah, he's aiming at you because...
How much health do you have left?
You're far.
Oh, there you go. They turn into a ghost. So now Evax is a ghost. Did he just shoot you? No, okay. You just came in the way.
Yeah.
So now that Evax is a ghost, he's not disconnected. He's going to stay here with me. He can watch the fight. He can even, I don't know, he can distract me if he wants to be mean. And... okay, there you go. He can follow me around. So that's, you know, that's pretty cool. Hey, stand still for a second. I love how the music ends really nicely. It sounds like it was actually the end of the song. The music in Mirador is procedurally generated somewhat. It's randomized, and it always flows beautifully with what's going on in the game. So now, Evax is this holographic ghost, thanks to some mysterious technology that we don't know about. And he can follow me around. So he's going to be able to follow me around. He's not going to revive. Can you cough, Evax?
Nope.
No. Ghosts cannot cough. So, oh, there we go. Lucky him. We're back at the Citadel, and he walked into the circle, and it brought him back to life. So basically, if your friend dies, All they have to do is survive until the next sanctuary, and once they reach the sanctuary, they come back to life, and now they can caw and help you in your fights again in the arenas. So I think that's a pretty cool mechanic there. So we kind of wanted a spectator mode that's more than just sitting there and watching your friends. So you can actually walk around. And follow your friends around and see what they're doing until you reach a sanctuary where you will be able to come back to life and continue helping. Could you please be able to bark, etc. while moving? Maybe. Actually, that's a good suggestion. How does a keyboard and mouse work? So keyboard and mouse is ASDW, ASDW, and if you dash towards the mouse with space. So I don't know if you get, yeah, you can see my mouse. I can put my mouse on the left and dash, it'll dash there. And you attack with left click right now. We're still designing and working on the keyboard and mouse system. But yeah, can the ghost still emote? No, not while dead. Is there going to be support for Russian language? There won't be support for languages besides English and French on launch. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget to do that now. But eventually, there's not going to be a whole lot of text in Mirador in the first place. It's a hack and slash. It's a boss fighting game, so I'm not too worried about that. It should be very playable no matter what language you speak. Oh, this Sentinel's got a saber. Different intro. Okay, kind of scary guy there with a ponytail. You can see some new cosmetics there as well. You see those things on the back of its shoulders, the bands. Okay, double attack, and it was really hard to dodge. Oh no, not the fire. There's an audio bug with the fire. I'm gonna actually let him kill me so I can be a ghost. Maybe not too quickly. I'm gonna do my best to deal some damage. I love the new fire VFX as well when you're on fire. You're not killing me, mister. Well, you're killing me actually. I am out of health potions, health charges. I'm just letting Evax take care of this guy. And
I don't have any potions.
I don't have potions either. I'm gonna cheat and kill him. Don't die, Evax. Don't die. Okay, he's dead. And now I'm a ghost. Yay. Yay. So, yeah. Now we would have to kill 2 more sentinels before I can be revived, because that was the first sentinel after the sanctuary, and there's 3 sentinel fights between every sanctuary. I love the windblown steps. They look so good. There's a portal over here. Over here, mister. What about a boomerang? I'm not sure yet, Sir Hacker. I don't want to get into that just yet, because the keyboard and mouse controls are still being worked on right now. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for the combat. I'm going to hop into the Sentinel. Evax, thank you so much for your help, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So
My pleasure.
The boss editor is a huge work in progress, and it's being reworked right now. So maybe I shouldn't... Yeah, sorry about that, Phil. There's a bug with the fire audio, with the fire spells, where the audio keeps looping, but we're fixing it right now. I don't know if I'm going to show you this today. I think I'm going to show you the boss editor next week. Those are not rustling leaves. That's the sound of the fire spells, but there's a bug because it loops. I think I'm going to show you the boss editor next week, because there's a major rehaul of it being made right now. Everything is changing. The whole thing is changing. So I think I'm going to show you, maybe not today. I think maybe for today, yeah. For today, we're going to wrap up the stream right there. I know you guys would love to see it. I mean, because whatever I'm going to show you now is going to be entirely outdated, because we're changing it all. I could show you now really quickly if you'd like to, but it's all outdated because we're right now, as we speak, they're reworking the boss editor, and it's going to change. We'll be able to use the boss editor in the tests. Yes. Yes, you will. So I don't know. Do you guys, should I show you this to give you an idea of how it's kind of going to be? Even though it's still a work in even though like all of this is placeholder and it's going to change, I could show you. Okay, so this is a sentinel that I've already published. I can open it, get some stats. I can dismantle it if I want to. So let's say I don't want it, because as you can see, I only have a certain amount of slots for sentinels, but I'm going to make another one. So when you make your sentinel, you're going to be able to choose its weapons. So the blaster, the longsword, the mace. I don't want to go any further because I don't want to spoil what the sixth weapon is. So I'm going to choose the mace. And then cosmetics. So obviously this is a very placeholder menu. You're going to be able to choose, you know, which helmet you want to give your sentinel depending on what loot you found. So everything is loot. So the reason I can put the Oculus on the sentinel, the Oculus helmet, is because I found an Oculus helmet while fighting sentinels. So when I use it, that's it. I can only use it once. I have to find more copies of it later on. I can put an attachment on the helmet. Right now, the only examples I have is the blade crest and the ponytail. I'm going to put the blade crest because it looks kind of cool. Shoulders. Let's change the pauldrons. Let's put the... maybe the defender pauldrons. I like those. And I can attach things to my pauldrons as well. Maybe light pucks or spikes. The curved spikes are kind of cool. I'm going to use the curved spikes. The plastron. Right now, we only have this. And the boots. So I can put a cape on the plastron if I want to, on the armor piece. Yeah, let's put a cape. Capes are cool. Okay, decals. Let's put some decals. On the face, maybe I can put the hex dots. Those are pretty cool. I like those decals on there. Adornments on the chest, maybe... how about this? This is kind of cool. I like the multi-hex one. There's going to be lots more decals. And oh yeah, I can put one on the cape too. Let's put this decal on the cape. Looks pretty cool. So now I can change the colors of things. I can apply paints if I found any paints. I can use, for example, the main alloy is the main metal on the armor. So you see the purple stuff? Let's change the color of that. Right now I think it's on violet. Yeah, it's on violet. Let's put it on maybe Bermuda. I like Bermuda. Yeah, there you go. It's got this green. Actually, maybe gold. Gold would look cool with the blue glowy stuff. Secondary alloy. So the secondary lines, the secondary like the face of the helmet, the inner crook on the blade crest over here. Maybe we'll put violet on that. It looks a little too similar. Let's do something else. Let's do maybe silver. Ah, that's cool. I like that. The main glow is the color of the things that glow. So in this case, the decals, they glow. So I could put red maybe? No, I like blue. I'm going to keep it blue. There's going to be a ton more colors. Those are just placeholders right now. Main cloth would be on the cape, I think. Since the cape is a cloth. Is it? No, I think main cloth should be grayed out right now. I think main cloth would have been the ponytail if you had one. I could be wrong, though. No, I'm not wrong. Okay, secondary cloth would be for the cape. Yeah, there we go. So I can change the color of my cape as well. What color should I put? Let's put Hessian. Yeah, Hessian kind of matches the silver. Or maybe Apple would match the silver as well. Apple is too green. Let's try Keppel. Ah, there we go. There we go. So you're going to have lots of customization to do on your sentinels. And then there's the circuit slash grid. Circuit slash grid, we're probably going to combine those together in... hey, why can I not? Okay. We're probably going to combine those into a single thing. But basically the idea is that you'd be able to decide like, okay, when my sentinel starts, it's going to do these spells. When it's at 50% HP, it's going to do these spells. And when it's at 25% HP, it's going to do another set of spells. And then the grid would dictate like what the behavior of your sentinel is. So for example, on Trinity right here, and like I said, those are placeholder. Things are probably going to change. But Trinity, the sentinel is going to start in the center, and then it's going to randomly either go to its weapon, so strike with its weapon, or do this spell, or do this spell, or do this spell. And then it goes back to the center, and then it repeats. So this one is like one of 3 random spells, or your weapon strike. At 50% HP, I could do something more complicated, for example. I could do Tetra, for example. So it starts here, and then it goes to random spell, strike, spell, reset. Random spell, strike, spell, reset. Random spell, strike, spell, reset. You get it. So let's try that. And then we could do something else like devotion. So in this example, oh, I can't do that because I'm out of spell slots. That has too many spell slots. Let's do this one. No. Let's do order. Okay. So order is reset. It's always gonna do. No, it's gonna pick one of those 3 random spells and then strike. Sorry, it's gonna do a strike and then a random spell. Strike and then a spell. Let's try that. Now I'm gonna assign spells depending on the loot that I found. Right now I'm using a developer mode, so I have access to all the spells. But I'm gonna slot spells in the different slots of those grids. So in the first one, I'm gonna put. Don't worry about the videos on the right; they're outdated. We need to update those. But yeah, actually, maybe I'll put Crashquake. So it's gonna start with Crashquake. So I just slotted this spell in the slot, and then we're gonna do. I like Spear's Flight. Let's do Crashquake, Spear's Flight, and then sometimes maybe slow down the player. Oh wait, let's do Seismic Shock. Should I do it that way? Actually, I'm gonna show you guys something different. You guys were asking me about different tiers. I'm gonna show you a perfect example. Let's take a look at Light Ray. So this is. Hold on. Let me go back in the circuit. I'm gonna pick a much simpler circuit. I'm gonna pick this one, and then I'm gonna pick. Let's see. I'm gonna pick Trinity for both. It doesn't matter. Okay, so Light Ray Basic. Light Ray. I think the objectives are going to be different, but basically Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 of Light Ray. And then we're going to take a look at Seismic Shock of the 3 tiers as well. Okay? And I'm just going to deploy that Sentinel. So check this out. In the first 50% of its health, it's going to always do Light Ray because that's what I gave it, but it's going to do the 3 variations of Light Ray. So check this out. So that's a strike. Now it's going to do spells. No, another strike. Okay. It's random. Okay, that's going to be... Oh, this is the Tier 3 of Light Ray. So this is the most powerful Light Ray. This is Tier 2 of Light Ray. So this is the second most powerful one. This is Tier 3 again. It's picking them randomly right now. This is Tier 1. So see, this is the most basic Light Ray. This is the most advanced Light Ray. So it gives you an idea of how the spells could change, and I'm really bad at changing them. Okay. I am really bad at dodging them. Hey, I did pretty good actually. Okay, sometimes they go in different orientations as well. And I hope I can get this guy to 50% health before I die. I don't have much faith that I can actually do that. Okay. By the way, your rank in the game is going to dictate which difficulty Sentinels you play against. Right now, there's not a whole lot of variety because we're still in development, which is why I'm getting my ass handed to me. I'm getting my butt kicked. Oh no, I actually died! Oh no. No, why do you have to kill me on the stream? Alright, it's okay. I'll make another one. I'll leave it default with the blaster, I guess. Or let's give him the longsword. I'll leave the default cosmetics for now, just so I can quickly show you guys. Let me put Trinity here. Trinity, spells. Okay, let's take a look at Seismic Shock. Basic, advanced, and the superior one. So the 3 tiers of Seismic Shock, and hey, maybe the 3 tiers of Seeker Bolt as well, which is a really cool spell actually, if I can make it to 50% of its health. You know what? I could do something else actually. I could make my life a little easier. I could just pick... Yeah, instead of 50%, I could do 67%. Or maybe even 75%. Yeah, let's do 75%. That way, I'll be able to reach the next one quicker. Actually, let's put Trinity here. Let's put Trinity on all of them. Okay. Let's do Seismic Shock, the 3 tiers of Seismic Shock. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, by the way. Sorry about that if I'm not. Let's do the same thing for Seeker Bolt. I don't want to do Molten Geyser. You guys have seen Molten Geyser, and there's the audio bug. Oh, there's Searing Wall as well, if we can reach that. Sure, let's do it. And I could show you the other light rays. There's different... Oh, or Anesthesis as well. This is pretty cool. In the 3 different tiers. Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can actually... Oh, I know what I could do. I could make myself invincible temporarily. I'm going to do that. I'm going to test this Sentinel. And I'm also going to give myself God Mode real quick. Hello, please don't kill me while I look for God Mode. There it is. God Mode. Do it. Okay, there you go. So now I'm invincible. So this is Seismic Shock. And this is the most basic version of it. Is he going to use a different... Okay, there we go. This is going to be what? This is going to be... Oh, the most advanced version of it. Or is it? No, I think this is the second version. The second tier. This is the first tier, so it only does 1 small circle around it. Not too difficult to beat. Weapon Strike. Weapon strike. I don't want to take too much of his health away. This is the basic tier. It's picking them randomly, and this is going to be... Yeah, this is the second tier again. It's pretty dodgeable as long as you've had some practice with it. Come on, hit me with the strong one, with the tier 3 seismic shock. It's randomized right now from the grids I chose. So, nope, that's still the second tier. And that's gonna be the basic one. I know it's the basic one because he walks up to me, he doesn't go to the center. When they go to the center, I know it's either the advanced one or the second tier. Oh, this is the third tier, see? So it's got 2 rings, and it's really hard to dodge. I can't dodge it. You guys are gonna be a lot better at this than I am. Okay, now let me take him to the next set of behaviors. I have God mode on, so I won't die. Okay, there we go. Now he's in the second... Oh no, still the first tier. I think? Yeah, still the first tier. Come on. There we go. I think that's the second... No. It's not switching on. There might be a bug. Yeah, I think there's a bug. Or I didn't choose the right spells, maybe? There might be a bug. Hey, development build. There's gonna be bugs. Yeah, I think there's a bug. Yeah, I think there is. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
Sorry,
it's okay. It's okay. What's up?
Let's see. You can check his boss ring.
Oh, right. I can use debug and check his boss ring. Yeah, they're using 4. I chose the circuit that has the 4 different behaviors at 100 HP, 75 HP, 25 HP. But he was always using the first set of spells.
It's supposed to work.
Okay, it might be a bug. It's okay.
But if you put 2 on the same, it's not gonna switch.
Wait, what do you mean 2 on the same?
Like if you put two the same grid in a row.
I did that. Okay, so that's the bug. My bad. Okay, it's okay.
All right.
All right. So I'm gonna show them to you one at a time, I guess. Actually, I'm not gonna spoil them all. I'm gonna save myself some stuff for the next stream, and I'm gonna show you guys. Do you guys want to see the different tiers of anesthesis or the different tiers of Seeker Bolt? Which ones do you guys want to see? Anesthesis or Seeker Bolt? You've got to pick. Only one, and then we wrap up the stream. Hi, Despicable Elements. How do I support the creation of this game? Kickstarter? No, unfortunately, we canceled the Kickstarter campaign. If you want to support us, basically, wishlist the game on Steam. It's called Mirador. Join the Discord, and maybe subscribe to our newsletter. It's up to you. You can also buy our other game called Castle Story. What's the difference? They're 2 different spells. Anesthesis? Okay. So, Anesthesis is kind of a weird spell to put by itself, to put 3 times, because what it does... Is that how you pronounce it? Let me see. Hold on.
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia. Okay, so anesthesis, I guess it's pronounced. Okay, so basically what it does is that it creates a circle under the player. Well, not necessarily under the player. It creates a circle in the arena, and walking in the circle slows you down and slugs you down, and it messes with your ability to dash and dodge abilities. So it's kind of a weird spell to use 3 times, because this is the only spell that the Sentinel is going to do right now, because that's what I told it to, and it has a sword. This is yeah, it was called Debilitate before. Yes, properly, you're right, we changed the name. This is going to be a really weird Sentinel with a great sword and anesthesis. This is definitely not going to be the most useful Sentinel, the most powerful Sentinel. Or maybe, no, maybe it's going to be really hard to dodge, actually. I don't know. So let's see. So this is, I think this is the tier 2, because it follows me around, you see? Wait, are they all tier 2? Which one is the basic one? I think the basic one doesn't move. There's one where this... Oh gosh. Okay, so now my dash is never going to recharge. I'm going to be stuck in here forever. I think the basic one is the one that just spawns underneath it. I just spent all of my anesthesis right now making a sentinel that stops me from dashing. As you can see, I'm slowed down and my dash does not replenish. Look at the bottom left. You see my... Okay, this is actually not a bad one. My dash... Well, now my dash is replenishing because I'm not in the anesthesis anymore. So I'm going to try to stay out of it to make sure that my dash replenishes. Wow, I'm already at like half health. I think it damages you. Oh, yes. One of the tiers causes damage on top of hurting you. On top of slowing you down. So this one doesn't damage. Okay, but now I am losing some health. I am losing a little bit of health. That's how I got to such low health so quickly. Okay. So this is one of these spells. I don't think I can beat this sentinel without healing. I'm gonna heal. Oh no! Oh no! Oh hey, I healed at the same time as he killed me. And I made it. The health potion just drizzled into my mouth. And I survived. It brought me back. No, don't do it. No. Oh gosh. It's a really, really annoying spell to fight against if you get caught in it. You really don't want to get caught into that ability. Because then you can't dash and you can't dodge. And you'll take a lot of damage. Uh-oh. Get out. Get your boomerang. It makes it difficult to pick your boomerang up too, which is kind of interesting actually. Okay. Alright. I think that's enough. What do you all think? Will there be descriptions of items? There's going to be videos that show you what the items do. This looks awesome, Shot to Zone. Really looking forward to playing this game. Thank you so much, Mikkel. How much loot will you lose when you die? That's undetermined yet, but most likely a decent amount. There's a man who makes a lot of competitive content in Cal's story. His name is Oleg. I do know him. That's, I forgot his name on the Discord. He has an airplane in his picture. I forgot his name. Dope. Nice. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are excited. If you'd like to, please add Mirador on your wish list. Visit Mirador Game. I'm going to put a link in the chat. MiradorGame.com will allow you to, hey, thank you so much for following. Mirador Game, but you can also wishlist it on Steam with this beautiful pink purple button here. So click that. Add the game on your wish list. We want as many wish lists as we can before we launch the game. You'll all get a notification when the game goes live, which is awesome. And if you can, as well, if you'd like to, subscribe to our newsletter by going to miradorgame.com/newsletter. Or you can just click here at the bottom right on the website. Do you see that here at the... Hold on, this is the mobile view. Here at the bottom of the page, at the bottom right here, you see it. You just type in your email address in there, and you'll be subscribed to our newsletter. Because if you subscribe to our newsletter, I will personally, myself, I will send you a virtual high five, and we will send you the flanged helmet and the aperture glyph in order to use on your sentinels when the game launches. So you get those cosmetics. I'm not too sure how many we're going to send you. Maybe we'll send you like one of each, or maybe we'll send you like 3 of each, maybe. Or hell, maybe we'll feel really generous and send you just like a full cosmetic set, since the cosmetics are one use. When you use it on a sentinel, you have to find more to put more. So maybe we'll send you a bunch. I don't know. We'll send you at least the flanged helmet and the aperture glyph, but I promise that that we will not spam you, and that you will enjoy the content that we send you to that newsletter. It'll basically be Mirador news and Sauropod news and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think like maybe Siamen. That's right. Maybe we can send you more than just the flange helmet and the aperture lift. I'll look into it. But anyways, go to there and subscribe to our newsletter. And if you would like to playtest Mirador, because a playtest is coming up, it's a closed playtest. It won't be for everybody. There's like 1,000 people that subscribe. I'm not even kidding. Like hundreds of people. I think. Let me check exactly how many. We had like a ridiculous amount of entries that we were not expecting. There's 548 responses. Like, that's crazy. We were not expecting that. So not everybody is going to get to play, unfortunately. But we're going to pick at least 100, maybe 200 of you. And you're going to be able to help us playtest the closed alpha. If you want to playtest, If you want a chance to get chosen for the playtest, go to miradorgame.com/playtest, and the instructions are there. I'll put them in the chat. They're not exclusive, no clown. No, they're not exclusive. You're going to be able to find all the loot in the game just by playing. We do not want to do like exclusive stuff for people who pay or stuff like that. We don't want to do that. That's not cool. That's not cool. Your chance of being picked for the closed playtest is drastically increased if you join the Discord. So go on the Mirador Discord, discord.gg/Mirador. Join that Discord and be active on their chat. Say hello every now and then. And if we see your name in the chat, there's a much better chance that we'll pick you for the playtest. Because we want people who... This is going to be a closed playtest. And you want to talk to the people who are playing. We want communication. There's going to be, as you can see, there's going to be a channel here, closed playtest. Right now, you guys don't, no, playtest feedback and playtest bug reports. We want people who are going to play and then tell us about their experience. We don't want people who are just going to play and then close the game and then, you know, not tell us about what they experienced, because then we don't get anything out of that. We're not going to be able to improve the game before we launch it if you don't tell us how you enjoyed the playtest. Can we record and send footage to you? Yes. So during the playtest, it's going to be under NDA. You will not be able to, upload videos on YouTube and screenshots and stuff like that. NDA means non-disclosure agreement, means you agree that you don't send screenshots. You don't talk about what you see to people except to us. So there's going to be a form that you can fill in with bug reports. If you want to put the video of your bug report like unlisted on YouTube, and then send us a link, that's okay. We'll allow that. Like, you can take screenshots and videos to send them to us only to report bugs and stuff. When will you be sending invites out? I can't tell you that just yet, but keep an eye out on your emails. There's actually gonna be a pre-play test, like very soon, like in the next 2 days, and maybe this weekend. We're gonna choose like 10 people, very specific 10 people, just to quickly test that everything is working, the network is working, and then we'll send it to like maybe 100 of you afterwards. Are there any settings that I need to set on my Steam profile though? No, just set it to public and you'll be fine. Actually, you don't even need to set it to public. Shout to John personally, do you think that I chat enough? Yes. When will the people be sure? Yeah, like I said, I can't tell you. I can't tell you just yet. Are there any settings? The stream has been kind of freezing every now and then today. Sorry about that. We've been having internet issues. It kind of sucks, actually. We've been trying to work on it. Okay. Any questions before we wrap up the stream for today, friendos? Anyone has comments, suggestions, love letters, hate words, song requests, or anything like that? If not, thank you so much for watching the stream today. For those of you who are interested, our other game, Castle Story, is currently 60% off, which is like super cheap for what it is. It's a lot of fun. It's a creative voxel strategy game. Go check it out. It's called Castle Story on Steam. And hey, money that we make on Castle Story right now is going to help us make Mirador a much, much better game. I'm going to put a link to Castle Story in the chat if you'd like to go check it out. Sing Despacito. Where did the name Sauropod come from? We love dinosaurs, man. There's not a whole lot. Can I ask a question about Castle Story? Yes, you can. Yeah, is the dev playtest? It already has the trash one. We already had a couple of people come in, but now we're like moving super quick, so I think it might just be easier to have the playtest happen at your houses by sending you keys. But if you'd like to come visit the studio, if you want to come here to Montreal to visit the studio, we will be happy to make that happen. Send us an email. Go to sauropodstudio.com, scroll down, there's a form, fill that in, and we'll make it happen. We will make it happen. Thank you for showing us more gameplay. No problem. Thank you for being here and watching it, Oz, bro. I got a question. Why are there 4Gs and suggestions? Next question. Are there other types of characters you would want to make, like the Berserker, or like getting upgrades for the characters you got? So we'd love to add different loadouts for player characters. because on launch you're going to be able to use, you know, the sword, the shield, dash and stuff. Maybe like a bow would be cool. You already have the boomerang for range attacks, which is really cool. But like maybe a mage, other abilities like that. And as for the sentinels, we'd like to add different sentinels, like really bigger, beefier sentinels, like super quick sentinels. We had plans for that, but unfortunately, not getting the budget from the Kickstarter campaign kind of made it that we couldn't add those. But we might. Those are still on the wish list. They're still on the table. After we launch the game, depending on how sales go, depending on how the reception of the game goes, we're definitely going to be wanting to do more updates for Mirador and keep the game going. Oh, for Castle Story, sorry. We don't have plans for Castle Story updates at the time being. Right now, we're like 1,000% focused on Mirador. Will the lore of the game be narrated, or will it be hidden like Dark Souls? Mirador isn't really going to be a story-driven game, but there is a lore. We have like a document with lore and a story of where the cute little animals ended up in this world and stuff. We might hint at it sometimes through gameplay, but it won't be written or narrated, no. If your sentinel kills a player, will you get rewarded? Yes! Yes, your sentinel will collect loot for you as well. Okay. Yeah. Are there any settings? No, already answered that. Everybody, thank you so much. If the game fails, will the studio still be able to make another game? Let's make sure the game doesn't fail. Let's make it not fail by... Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. Last question. Okay, Despicable. Make it quick. Make it quick. No? No more questions? Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the stream today. It was really... Will your Sentinel... Will your Sentinel have a kill count? Yes, your Sentinel will have stats that you're going to be able to... to see and keep track of. This is a good game, I believe. Thank you, Sir Hacker. Thank you. We appreciate that. Everybody, thank you so much for watching the stream today. It was a pleasure to stream for you and to show you another sneak peek of Mirador. Please be sure to join the Discord, discord.gg/Mirador. Wishlist the game on Steam, and maybe sign up to the newsletter as well. You know, miradorgame.com/newsletter. I promise we will send all of you, everybody that subscribes to the newsletter, a little thank you, a little something to thank you for subscribing. And besides that, I will see you next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It might be Castle Story stream, it might be a Mirador stream, but there's probably going to be some Mirador. There's a very good chance that there's going to be some Mirador next Thursday. And my insurance company is calling me now. So everybody, thank you so much. I hope my house didn't catch on fire. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful end of your week. And I switched to the wrong one. Let's try this. Have a wonderful, wonderful end of your week. Yes.